Thinking about buying a Hypto Krypto? Make sure you watch this first. Hi guys, Chris from Stoked for Travel here. Welcome back to the channel. Now before I get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any video goodness. Now today we're going to be talking about one of the most famous surfboards of all time, the Hypto Krypto by Hayden Shapes. We're going to talk about why it was such a success when it was launched back in 2015, a run through of the board, whether it's relevant today in 2021, and I'm also going to run through 4 other boards that I recommend you check out before buying a Hypto Krypto. So yeah, let's jump straight in. So first things first, let's talk through the Hypto Krypto and the shape itself. As you can see from the outline, it's got a really nice pintail which provides a lot of release in the tail. It's the dawn of the high volume shortboard that can work in a huge variety of conditions. In terms of the rocker, this is one of the key components of what makes the Hypto Krypto that contestant for a one board quiver. It's pretty flat throughout with a slight bit of entry and a slight bit of exit rocker. This results in really easy paddle power so you can instantly get your wave count way up. In terms of the contours on the board, it's a single to double concave running throughout the main part of the board with a double V in the tail for lots of release and pivot along that tail. In terms of volume, it starts at 5'2" at 23 litres, going right through to a 7-foot model, which comes in at a whopping 58.6 litres. And now the board that I've been riding is a 5'11" and comes in at 34.72 litres. So as you can tell, a lot of foam under your chest for ease of paddle power and really allows you to drop down that sizes without sacrificing the volume. One of the other key things about the Hypto Krypto is the huge range of conditions it works in. So you can surf in everything from 1 foot right through to 8-foot surf, and that's one of the reasons it's been hailed as that one board quiver. Although this is something I'm going to contest later on in the video, but yeah, that's the main overview of the Hypto Krypto and the key points that make it such an awesome board. So now we've run through the outline of the Hypto Krypto, let's talk about the 4 key points that made its launch such a global success and turned it into one of the most recognizable surfboards of all time. And now the first of these 4 points is the fact it is the first high volume shortboard aimed at the everyday surfer. Prior to its launch in 2015, there wasn't a huge amount of diversity in the surfboard industry, and it was very much aimed at high performance surfboards. So the Hypto Krypto came in, blew that all away, brought us the high volume shortboard that the everyday surfer could surf, packed in that extra bit of volume and allowed you to drop down your size as well, so arguably adding a bit more performance that way. It's then spawned a lot of other high volume kind of groveler surfboards and high volume performance surfboards, but the Hypto Krypto was the first of its kind, and back in 2015 made some massive impact just through this factor alone. Now the second factor in the global success of the launch of the Hypto Krypto has to be Craig Anderson. This surfing style guru dropped some epic clips just as the Hypto was launched, him getting absolutely pitted in 8-foot Kanduis in the Mentor eyes. And these clips continued with his continued performance on the Hayden Shapes model from the Hypto through to all the newest models are a key part of the continued success of the brand and also of the Hypto Krypto itself. So yeah, Craig Anderson's style guru point was definitely a key part. Now alongside the clips from Craig Anderson, the marketing department behind Hayden Shapes and the Hypto Krypto launch had everything on point. They had the clips from Craig, they had the perfect angle with the high volume shortboard and the under-catered for market. So when they decided to launch the Hypto, they went in all guns blazing and everything went to plan. Now the final factor in the success of the launch of the Hypto Krypto was Hayden Shapes' original partnership with Global Surf Industries. Now we now know a lot about the pop-out surfboards coming out in Asia from the likes of Thailand, Taiwan and Indonesia. But the Hypto Krypto was arguably one of the first boards to really take full advantage of the speed and capacity involved in these pop-out surfboard manufacturing techniques. So that meant when the Hypto was launched alongside that epic marketing, it was available worldwide, in bulk and in all sizes. So it really took full advantage of the economies of scale and the speed of production. And that's what made it another great success because it put it in the hands of every surfer that wanted one. So now for the big question, is the Hypto Krypto actually worth the hype? Well, yes and no. Arguably it does exactly what it says on the tin. It allows you to surf in a huge variety of conditions, 1 foot to 8 foot, everything from your average beach break right through to reeling Mentawis. and it really allows the average surfer to drop down a size, keep that extra volume, and keep their wave count high. But the downside of the Hypto Krypto is you really aren't going to be doing a lot of top to bottom surfing while you're surfing it. Even if you watch Craig Anderson's clips, you'll see he's taking pretty much a high line, setting his line, getting pitted, getting spat out, and he's not doing too many top to bottom big turns. And that's the thing where the Hypto Krypto gets let down, is if you are looking to push your turns and get those cutbacks nailed, it's really not the right board under your feet to achieve that. One of my friends who surfed the Hypto a lot, and he's a really good surfer, says that the board averages about 50% in smaller waves and 80% performance in bigger waves. So it's really not really reaching the full potential of what you can do on the board. And one of the main things he said was after surfing the Hypto for about 6 months, he realized he hadn't done an actual proper turn in a long time. And that was just because of the way the board handled it, just really nice and likes a nice flowing line, taking that nice high line, a few small check turns, but really kind of just setting that line and going for the shoulder. So if you are looking to push those turns, it really isn't going to do exactly what you want it to do and help that progression. That being said, for a lot of surfers, especially bigger guys who want a lot of volume underneath you, or if you're dropping down from, say, a longboard or a mini mal to your first shortboard, it is a great option. But I'm now going to talk through 4 other options that you should consider before buying the Hypto. Okay, so when it comes to the alternatives I want to recommend to the Hypto Krypto, alternative number 1 is the Black Diamond by DHD. Now, in terms of all the alternatives I'm going to run through, this is the most similar in terms of outline and volume. As you can see from the outline, it's very similar to the Hypto Krypto. However, is a lot more refined and will give you a lot more performance in terms of top to bottom surfing. It also comes in a 5-fin setup, so you can swap between thruster and quad setup, so you can really tailor it to your own personal style. But in terms of volume and wave count, it's going to be very similar to the Hypto, but with that added extra bit of performance. So option number 2 is one of my personal favorites, and that's the Puddle Jumper HP by Lost Mayhem. In terms of variety of surf conditions, this isn't quite going to match the Hypto. This is really kind of a high volume groveler board, so up to about head high. But if you're only surfing up to head high waves, it's going to be absolutely incredible under your feet. It's going to really up your paddle power, get that wave count right up. And as a thruster or a quad, it's got a lot of top to bottom surfing capacity, and you can really help push your turns. So if you're kind of that like high-end beginner intermediate looking for that first kind of high volume shortboard to really boost your performance, the Puddle Jumper HP is definitely one of my favorites. Option number 3 in the list is another DHD entry, and that's the DHD Phoenix. Now this is a collaboration between DHD and Mick Fanning, and is their high volume, high performance summer shortboard. In terms of volume versus length, it's very similar to Hypto. There's a lot of foam under your chest, and that wide point is moved a little to the front, which gives you a lot of paddle power. In terms of performance, it's definitely more performance-y than, say, the Puddle Jumper HP, and can handle a big variety of conditions. Under head high, ride it as a twinny with a trailer for lots of speed and style. Anything overhead, chuck in your standard thruster setup, and you'll keep all the performance. But yeah, if you're looking for that high volume, it also comes in a thick and thin option in the even dimensions. So you can either choose to drop it down a size and keep the volume, or thin it out and add a little bit of extra performance as well. The final option I'm going to add in the mix as an alternative to the Hypto Krypto is the Firewire Dominator 2, and personally this is my shortboard of choice at the moment, and arguably my one-board quiver. I've surfed it in a huge variety of conditions, from kind of waist-high onshore beach breaks through to overhead reeling conditions, and it's handled everything I can throw at it. I mainly surf it as a quad. There's a lot of speed but a heap of release in it, but I've also surfed it as a twinny with a trailer too, and that's super fun, lively and loose. In terms of the variety of conditions you can surf it in, it definitely matches what the Hypto can surf. And if you look at some clips online, you can see that you can absolutely throw the Dominator 2.0 around. In terms of volume, it is a little bit less volume than the Hypto, so you will have to bump it up a size just to get that extra foam underneath you. And the 6.1 I'm riding comes in about 36 litres. But in terms of performance, sheer variety of conditions and construction, the Dominator 2 is definitely one to consider, especially if you're a more intermediate and advanced surfer. So the bottom line is, as much as this video has come across as anti-Hypto Krypto, You have to give them the dues. Hayden and the team behind the Hypto Krypto did an incredible job at making the Hypto Krypto such a worldwide success. And in fact, the fact that the Hypto Krypto is almost more recognizable as a brand than Hayden Shapes itself goes to show how much amazing marketing they put behind the launch. However, that was launched in 2015, and in the last 6 years, there's been a huge progression in board design and a lot more high volume options up there. So in terms of, is it suitable for your quiver in 2021? Well, I'm going to arguably say that as much as it is an incredible board and it does fit a huge variety of surfers, there are now better options out there. And if you take the time to hunt around, you could definitely get something under your feet that's going to allow you to progress even further. And there you have it, guys. That's my full roundup of the Hypto Krypto by Hayden Shapes and whether it's worth it in 2021. Now, if you've ridden a Hypto, I'd love to hear from you. Add your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know how you got on with the board, whether you've replaced it, whether you're still loving it. I'd love to add that into the mix and get some discussion going. Now, if you are looking for a new board, make sure you check out the links in the description below to all my surfboard reviews, and we can help you find the right stick for you. That's it for this week, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.